As I get older, I often reflect on choices I've made, things I've said, friends I've lost or gained, accomplishments, regrets, and so on. The point is that the past is always going to be there, whether it haunts me or not. The things I've done or said will always be present with no real escape. Developer Imagine Wings Studio has seemingly brought these themes into their upcoming puzzle platformer, With My Past. Through a puzzle design reminiscent of games such as Evan's Remains, it's tough not to play this title without bouts of introspection. Even during the demo that introduces some of the gameplay mechanics, I was left on a cliffhanger, wondering where the story would go, if only to help me with my struggle of leaving behind my own past. However, through this pain comes healing, as the game's mechanics will consistently remind you that you can't escape the cards you've been dealt, but you can learn to live with it. I was able to play through the opening prologue of the first chapter of With My Past. Here, players are introduced to a young girl who has met her past. This shadow follows her wherever she goes, and she actually doesn't want any part of it. Over the course of the early moments, we learn of a few issues within her life that lead to these feelings, but the developers go a step further by pairing the puzzle designs with her desire to be free of her past. Each scene features text on a screen that reveals the girl's inner struggles. It's often a painful scene to witness, but when it's paired with successfully completing a puzzle and progressing the narrative, it becomes a little easier to stomach as a bystander. One of the more interesting scenes showcased how people she's met often try to help her out, with the people being viewed as a dog that can step on buttons to open up doors. However, as she's using these dogs to progress, she's distancing herself from them, only accepting their help until she's found a way through. Suffice it to say, I was fully invested in the emotional themes this game was delivering. The puzzles do become a bit tougher later in the chapter, and judging by some of the designs, I imagine late game puzzles will be a similar build-up to difficulty. To assist, there is a skip puzzle button, but I feel like this also causes players to miss parts of the narrative, so it's up to you whether or not you want to use that. I also think the puzzles are part of the story, and I hope that they continue to innovate and emphasize what's going on in the girl's head. Movement is simply running and jumping, but you can also interact with certain objects. It takes a little bit of time to understand how to utilize these objects, but they do things like switch you in your past's place, move a platform, and you get it. This basic control scheme works with this adventure since it allows you to focus on the story. There's also a neat feature that stops you from running off the edge slightly, which I did appreciate. If there was a standout element of the entire game, it's the music, which really sells the somber and heavy themes found in this narrative. I will say that I did notice a couple typos in the text, but I imagine these will be fixed because they seem to be just placeholders. If you get the chance to play the demo of With My Past, do it with an open mind that is hungry to experience an emotional adventure. I adore these types of games, as I often play through fantasy adventures to escape, while games like this ground me in reality and really force me to look at the past in a way that makes me realize that I may have been running from it myself. With My Past is launching on PC via Steam. A demo will be available on January 10th, 2024. Thanks for watching. This video is brought to you by our supporters on Patreon. Noisy Pixel is run by a group of gamers providing independent gaming coverage through news, reviews, previews, and more. Check out our Patreon to help support our continued growth, and subscribe to keep up with all our future content.
Noisy Pixel.